Hi church, my name is Jennifer Phillip, and today I am here to share my story with you about my journey with depression. So at the end of 2020, going into 2021, I was suffering with a lot of illness that I couldn't pinpoint, and I didn't know why I felt the way that I felt. In November, my husband took me to the ER, and the doctors were unable to tell me what was going on. They were doing so many scans, but really none of them could figure out what was happening to me. I was able to go see a surgeon, and so he told me that there might be a little bit of inflammation that they could take care of. And so I had surgery at the end of 2020, and I thought to myself, okay, now this pain is gone, now I'll be able to be better and I can be back to my old self. But basically until 2020, the end, until mid-2021, that same pain came back. I remember being in so much pain that I would lay awake in the middle of the night and cry out to God, and I would tell God, Lord, please just take me. I can't deal with this pain anymore. I remember I wanted to be asleep more than I wanted to be awake. The things that I usually love to do, like going and hanging out with friends, I never wanted to leave my house at all, just because I was so anxious of what the pain would do and how it would create uncomfortability for me when I was out with friends. And I remember it was such a hard time for me during this time because I didn't know who to reach out to. I didn't want to burden anyone. And also there was such a stigma about mental health and mental illness in our community that I didn't know where to go. But myself, having a background in social work and knowing a little bit about therapy and about mental health, I knew that if I did not take care of my mental health, that slowly my physical health will continue to suffer as well too. So I started to research some counselors in my area, and I found a counselor who specialized in pain and pain recovery. And I remember going to her and being so anxious and not knowing how to share my story because I was usually on the other side of things. But I remember she had such a calm and non-judgmental approach, and she looked at me and she said, "Honey, you are depressed." And so that was just a come to Jesus moment for me. I had known it all along, but for someone to just give me a diagnosis was honestly the most freeing thing. And so one thing that she told me that just resonated with me is she said, embrace the pain and reach out to your support system. She would tell me when the pain comes, rather than trying to fight the pain that I was going through, to embrace it, to lean into it, and to be able to reach out to my community and let them know what was going on. And so I took those words and I started to just embrace the pain, and I started to let people know about my story. You know, being in ministry and being married to a pastor, we are always on the other side of taking care of people. And I still remember there was a moment where I think we had Metro students or something, and someone was like, "Can you pray for me?" And in my head I was like, Lord, I barely have strength to trust you right now. How do you expect me to pray for someone else? But it was just so good for me to be able to be honest with God and to let him know that because of what I had gone through, my trust in him was lacking. But the Lord reminded me that when my trust is lacking, he is still strong and he is still faithful. So I was able to go back to my counselor, and she was able to just see such a big change in me. And you know, one thing about mental health is that mental health is not just, you know, one and done, you're finished, it's all good now. It's something that I constantly have to check in with myself. I have to have that self-awareness, and I have to know that just like in this earth, the Lord has promised and said that we're not always going to have the best times, that we're going to go through suffering. And I know that this is something that I have to live with, and but I have to utilize my community as well too. So to you, my church, one thing that I would say is, rather than just jumping in the beginning, which of course is so needed, continue to be there for your friends and for your family, especially those who are struggling through illness, through grief, through different things, and do things that are practical, right? I strongly believe in the ministry of presence. So people, whenever they would come over, or even a FaceTime call as well too, meant such a long way. And so that's what the Lord has revealed to me through my journey journey with mental health. I don't even call it a struggle, honestly. I call it a journey, because not only am I learning more about myself, but I'm also learning more about Jesus as well too. And today, church, I have to say that I am pain-free. I am running around doing so much right now without that pain, and even emotionally too. I have been able to just repair my relationship with the Lord. But today I stand knowing that my circumstances don't affect my relationship with God. Rather, I stand here today knowing that even in the midst of the storm, God is still good, and God is still here, and He is still present. So church, I urge you today, if you are going through something, seek out professional help. So be able to seek out a good mental health counselor, a good psychiatrist, be able to pour back into your community and be able to be vulnerable and say, hey, I'm not doing okay, I need help. Those are the steps that I was able to take within my mental health journey, and that's what has helped me thus far. So church, I thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share my story, especially during Mental Health Awareness Month. Thank you.